Disasters cost the American economy several billions of dollars a year. This may sound like a lot of money, but it's nothing when compared to the greatest cost a disaster can leave in its wake: the loss of human life. Thousands of people die each year, with 4 times as many being injured from the results of the disaster. Much of this cost can be avoided if careful planning is a part of your organization's emergency preparedness plan.
Whether your organization is a government agency, manufacturing facility, warehouse, service center, construction, transportation, healthcare, education, retail, or technology services, the best way to make sure you, your organization, and your family is safe is to be prepared before disaster strikes.
It is your responsibility to become familiar with your organization's policies and procedures concerning emergencies of any kind, whether they are natural disasters, accidental disasters, or intentional disasters.
Your organization may have a perfect safety record. Maybe workplace violence is something that has never occurred in your own community. Maybe you think that terrorist attacks only happen in big cities. Well, what about natural disasters? Has anyone ever been able to tell a tornado that, hey, now is not a good time to rip through our town? Or what about an unexpected fire? Honestly, none of us go to work each day expecting these emergencies to occur, but they do. And if we're not properly prepared for them, they can cost your organization thousands in lost time, productivity, and damage. Or even worse, they could claim the life of a fellow employee, a friend, or maybe even your own.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA, suggests that you be prepared for a disaster beforehand, not when it strikes. Throughout this program, we will examine the need for your organization to have an emergency preparedness plan. We will look at your personal roles and responsibilities of being prepared. Some of the emergencies addressed in this video may not apply to your region. Others will, regardless of the disaster. The principles involving preparedness can be used across the board when it simply concerns being prepared.
An emergency, by definition, is a sudden unforeseen crisis, usually involving danger, that requires immediate action. This can include, but not be limited to, natural disasters, such as earthquakes, flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, snow, and ice storms. They may also include accidental disasters like fires, spilled chemicals, released vapors, workplace tragedies. Other times they may be intentional acts of disaster, much like acts of terrorism, workplace violence, bomb threats, arson, or employee sabotage. Your organization should be prepared for any of these types of emergencies. Throughout this video, we'll refer to an acronym called YIPPY, which is to help us remember how to prepare for an emergency situation. The Y in YIPPY is for you, your responsibility in emergency preparedness. The I is for identify. Identify the hazards. The first P is for plan. Plan for the potential disaster. The next P is for prepare. Prepare for the emergency. And the last letter, I, is for inform. Be ready and prepared to inform your supervisor of any safety hazards or tips that you discover. The hurricane is considered one of the most dramatic, damaging, and potentially deadliest weather events that occur in the United States. All of the Atlantic and Gulf coastal areas are subject to hurricanes. Although rarely struck by hurricanes, parts of the southwest United States and Pacific coast suffer heavy rains and floods each year from the remnants of hurricanes spawned off of Mexico. Islands such as Hawaii, Guam, American Samoa, and Puerto Rico are also subject to hurricanes. Hurricanes affect inland areas with high winds, floods, as well as tornadoes.
Hey, Patty. I think we need to review our facility's emergency preparedness plan in case of a hurricane or tornado.
Okay. What do we need to look at?
Well, I got this information off the FEMA website, and I think if we put together an action plan and get a few people trained to take care of some of these items before we even consider evacuating the building, I think that with some proper planning in place, that we can reduce casualties and minimize damages.
That makes sense. What were you thinking?
Here, you see these filing cabinets? Now, if we got flooded, all these files would be ruined. What we need to do is make sure that files like these that are in lower drawers get emptied and put in a high, safe place so that they don't have the potential to be ruined.
So when the announcement goes out about a possible evacuation, each employee would be responsible for moving their files from their desk drawers to a higher location within their offices.
What about Larry in graphics? Do you think he might require some special attention in case we need to evacuate the building? And, he's got a unique transportation issue, too.
Yeah. In fact, as part of our evacuation plan training, we should have certain team leaders assigned to help Larry or anyone else who may need special assistance, especially ladies who might be pregnant. Let's talk to Rita in HR and see if she can help keep the team leaders informed as to who might need special attention in case of a crisis.
Okay. We also need to make sure that maintenance trims back the dead branches off the tree out front. Otherwise, the branches could come flying through the window if the wind snapped them off.
I noticed that.
Coffee?
Please. I'll talk to Robbie in maintenance and get that taken care of then. Speaking of broken glass, we should inform everyone in the building to move any objects away from the window in their offices.
Yep. That should be on the checklist that we pass out to each employee. We also need to make sure that maintenance has pre-cut boards of wood to place over the windows. FEMA recommends that we use 5/8" marine plywood. If we plan this right, we should be able to respond quickly to the advancing storm without much panic. They say that complacency and delayed action result in needless loss of life and property damage.
I agree. I wouldn't want the responsibility of a casualty on my head because we didn't spend a few minutes preparing for an emergency.
Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify potential hazards that may be due to a hurricane or a tornado, such as flooding and flying debris. Plan ahead by being ready to relocate items away from your office window. Also, consider moving boxes, files, and other stored items from low-lying areas to higher shelves and storage locations. Prepare by knowing your organization's policy and procedure for emergency evacuation. Also, keep a list of emergency phone numbers readily available. Inform your supervisor of any hazards relating to a hurricane or tornado.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, it sounds like someone's happy to be here this morning.
Sheesh.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Jackson. Welcome to the Chicago office. Did you have a good flight?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Well, we're glad to have you here this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think you all know while you're here this morning, as part of our ongoing emergency preparedness plan, we all need to be aware of some of the basics in case of fire. I've prepared a training log for this week, and each day one of us will take turns teaching the others on your prepared topic.
What? You mean like I gotta get up there and make a speech?
No, you can stay right at your seat.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start with the warehouse storage. And Steve and Daryl, I'd like for the two of you to work on locating all those materials stored in the warehouse that could cause a fire or could contaminate the environment in case of fire.
All right.
Also, we need to have a plan for the safe storage and handling of all those flammable liquids and gases.
You are definitely the gas man.
Okay. And lastly, we need to provide some procedures to prevent the accumulation of combustible materials. Okay? All right. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, and fire extinguishers. Joe, that would be you. I'd like for you to locate all of the fire extinguishers throughout the building and check to see when they were last inspected. Also, we need to have the sprinklers, smoke detectors, and fire alarms identified and tested.
Not a problem.
All right, great, thank you. That takes us to our evacuation procedures. Lynn, I'd like for you to make up a plan for each department, and I'd like for you to provide each employee in that department with a map of their department's exit plan.
Okay.
Okay? And also we need to have those maps posted throughout the facility. And lastly, we need to make sure that all of our halls, stairs, and exits are completely clear of debris.
Okay, I'll work with facilities on that.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Lastly is our utility shutoff valves. Steve, you're the man for that. I'd like for you to locate all of the utility shutoff valves. That would include the electric, water, and gas coming into the building.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Oh, and Steve, will you please contact the local fire department and schedule a time this week for them to come and do an inspection to check for any potential hazards?
Yes, I will.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, that's about it. Let's meet again at the same time next Monday. And oh, wait. Do we have any questions?
Where can I find some good pizza in Chicago?
We have great pizza everywhere in Chicago. Okay, everyone. Let's meet again at this same time next Monday. And at that time, we're going to start with Steve, and we're going to have you.
Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify potential fire hazards, such as hazardous chemicals and materials that can cause a fire or contaminate the environment during a fire. Plan ahead. Have an evacuation plan. Take measures to prevent the accumulation of combustible materials. Safely store flammable liquids and gases. Locate main valves and switches, including the emergency shutoff for electric, water, and gas. Prepare by routine checking of fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, and alarms. Review your organization's evacuation procedures. Inform your supervisor of any potential fire hazards.
According to FEMA, floods and flash floods occur within all 50 states. It is one of the most widespread of all natural disasters, second only to fire. Property damage totals over $1 billion a year from flooding. 9 of every 10 presidential disaster declarations result from the natural phenomena in which flooding was a major component.
The force of just 6 inches of swiftly moving water can knock people off their feet. Water only 2 feet deep has swept cars away. The power and force of these moving bodies of water should be well respected. It's highly recommended that when flooding does start to occur, that you move to higher ground until it's safe to return. Become familiar with your organization's policy and evacuation procedures if flooding has the possibility of occurring during your hours of employment.
We'll be looking at that, boys. All right, now, they've determined that we're in a flood zone here, man. So, we need to begin planning and practicing for a possible flood emergency. Now, here's some of the things we can do. John, see that building over there? Uh-huh. That's the Community Civic Center. Yep. We need to practice getting our people over to that building to get a safe head count. Okay. Now, can you draw up some driving instructions and some plans as to how to get to that building? Yeah. And in addition to that, could you work up a little emergency sheet with phone numbers of police, fire, ambulance, and all the pertinent numbers to that community center over there? Okay. Okay. Now, Leroy? Yeah. See that bank over there? Yeah. We need to get these sandbags stacked on that bank over there. And also, we need to check on the pump. Check in the shop to see if we got a pump. Now, in case of a flood emergency, we probably should have a gas-powered pump. So let's check on getting that. No problem. Also, would you go see Jill in operations? I know you'd love to do that. No problem. And see if she could get us a corporate training session. We need to have a full company-wide training session so we can teach our people how to get to that building over there for a safe head count, and then we can get them all the information, emergency numbers that John's going to work up for them. Can you do that?
Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify your organization's potential flood zone as well as areas of potential flooding. Plan ahead by becoming familiar with emergency locations, evacuation routes, and emergency phone numbers. Prepare for disaster by using sandbags to shore potentially risky areas from overflow. Have pumps and generators available, and maintain an ample supply of fuel. Inform your supervisor of any areas you believe may need attention.
Hey, Robert.
What's up, Ruben?
Don't you think we should move these cans of chemicals to the floor? I mean, if we get hit with another earthquake and it shakes the shelves good enough, we might have a problem.
I guess you're right, Ruben. Why don't we move those heavy items on the top shelf to the floor? And in fact, as part of our emergency preparedness plan, they secure those shelving units themselves to the wall. When you go, get Larry to give you a hand.
Okay, Larry.
Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify items that can fall, spill, break, or move. Plan to relocate those items to safer locations. Prepare for an earthquake by securing shelves, filing and storage cabinets, and other tall pieces of furniture like bookcases. Also, know the location of first aid kits and stored water. Inform your supervisor of your findings. Although the terrorist attack of September 11, 2001 is claimed to have taken the lives of more Americans than the attack on Pearl Harbor, terrorism is not as common in the United States as it is in other countries. Of course, this doesn't suggest that we should be naive to the possibility that terrorists may try to strike at the heart of America once again.
America is composed of many different cultures, each having their unique customs, habits, and dress attire. It is wrong to consider that any person who does not look or act like you might be a terrorist.
Suspicious behavior is a key indicator to identifying potential danger. Although it may not be your job to act as a security officer in your workplace, it is your responsibility to report suspicious behavior to your supervisor or to security. You can help deter potential disaster by being alert of vendors, consultants, contractors, fellow employees, visitors, and strangers who may be in the building, on the grounds, or even in the parking area.
Don't take matters into your own hands. Immediately contact your supervisor or security for your facility. The best preparedness in case of terrorism or potential workplace violence is to report it.
Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify areas within your organization that may be susceptible to easy access from outsiders, such as vendors, consultants, contractors, visitors, or strangers. Plan to secure information like computers, filing cabinets, and important documents with locks and passwords. Prepare to properly identify suspicious behavior. Inform your supervisor or security of any suspicious behavior.
None of us go to work each day suspecting our coworkers, contractors, or strangers to burst onto a scene in a violent fit of rage, but it does occur, and your organization needs to be prepared for such an incident.
If you believe someone has entered your job place with ill intent, again, contact your supervisor or security. Try to describe the suspect as best you can, but be quick to allow time for people to prepare for safety and react to the situation.
Next, get yourself into a safe place. The less you move around and the less noise you make, the safer you might be. If you can close and lock the door to your office without attracting attention, do so quietly. Consider hiding under your desk until it is safe to leave your area.
If you are outdoors or are able to get outdoors, stay down. Try to lie on the ground, below, and behind bushes or some other barrier so as not to be seen. Use cars, tables, trees, and other obstacles to hide behind. Your goal is to get to a safe place and remain still until help arrives. Let's review Yippee. Your responsibility is identify potential coworkers who you feel may be under prolonged stress. Plan to meet with your supervisor or EAP to express your concern for your coworkers' stress. Prepare to inform your supervisor or your EAP department with specifics of your concern so that they might be better able to address the situation with the stressed coworker. Inform your supervisor or the EAP department of your concerns.
It should be your goal, as well as your organization's goal, to return to normal operations as soon as possible. An organization that is well prepared for an emergency is one that is well prepared to get back to functioning normally rather quickly.
Emergency preparedness training is not something you do, but rather something you are. You are prepared for an emergency. The success of your emergency preparedness plan, along with all of the preparation and training, may never be realized. You may never see any of these items acted out within your own organization. But, of course, it is better to be safe than sorry when it comes to human life. Review your plan frequently with your staff. Practice your plan with drills and follow up on the checklists. These small steps will ensure that your organization is well prepared for any type of emergency.